Okay, good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for joining us for the NJCART Hot Topics webinar. We're glad that you're here. We have a slate of speakers set up to share with you this afternoon, so that'll be fun. My name is Mike Murata. I guess I will act as our ringmaster and host and moderator as we move through, but I will not be one of the speakers, so I will only pop in at the beginning and the end. We're glad you're here. I'll give you a sense of what we have that we're going to be talking about. So our topic today is AAC. We have a slate of speakers. What we've tried to do to try to eliminate some of our potential tech snafus is we have recorded presentations from each of the speakers. That way I could load them into the slides and we could have them run all at once. Without having to share screens. We will try a screen share towards the end when we look at Proloquo to go, but our speakers for that are still working through their tech, so we move them to the back of the presentation, give them a little extra time to work through it. So as we go through, we have these pre-recorded sections, or about 5 minutes or so, where each speaker will walk you through the examples of what that tool can do and how you would implement that for a student. And then at the end, we'll have a chance to ask questions. There is also a chat feature of the Zoom platform where you can feel free to leave a question at any point during the chat. I will collect those as we go and try to drop those in either in between the little sections if it makes sense, or wait till the end and drop them out for our speakers to have at it and answer. So feel free, leave your questions throughout. If you want to wait and ask your question in person through audio at the end, that's great too. We'll have time to do that. So either way, we're a pretty flexible group. We're game for just about anything. All right, so as we go through, we'll start with our first speaker, which is Tracy, and she will introduce herself and she will share with you just kind of set the stage a bit for what we're going to talk about as we move through the rest of our time together.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for taking the time to learn with NJCART. My name is Tracy Lee, and I'm immediate past president of NJCART, as well as been working in the field of augmentative and alternative communication for over 20 years, and I'm excited to share some information with you. We're going to start out talking about what augmentative and alternative communication is. AAC is all forms of communication that enhance or supplement speech and writing. It's about the systems or the tools that the individual uses. It's about symbolic forms, or what vocabulary looks like and how it is organized in the system. And it's also about techniques, which is twofold: the techniques that the individual uses in order to be the best communicator that he or she can be, as well as the techniques that we use as communication partners to help enhance the communication success. There are 3 types of AAC systems. The first one being no-tech systems, and these are unaided. We are using our bodies to express oneself, such as using our eyes to look over at something, or facial expressions to indicate our feelings or desires and opinions. It includes vocalizations and vocal attempts, as well as signs and gestures. The second category are known as low-tech systems, and these are aided modalities. We are adding something to the communication toolkit. These are also known as manual systems or communication books and boards, but there is no printed or voice output. You may point to pictures, you may look at pictures, you may exchange pictures, you may also use photographs or objects, any way to make your wants and needs and desires known to another. The third category are known as high-tech devices, or VOCAs, voice output communication aids, or SGDs, speech generating devices, which is what today's webinar is all about. These are aided modalities. We are definitely having something tangible that we're adding to the communication toolkit. They do have voice and or printed output, and they may be static or dynamic display in nature. Static display systems include inserting and taking out paper-made communication displays, depending on what you're talking about or what the communication activity is based on, compared to dynamic displays, which are more like the computer screens or tablet services, where you touch the screen or activate buttons on the screen in order to access additional vocabulary. What's important to recognize about AAC systems is that they are not a one-size-fits-all, and there is a documented set framework in order to determine which system or systems are a match for someone's communication needs. This includes students or potentially toddlers in intervention, school-age students, young adults, adults, and seniors as well, looking at their current communication skills as well as their challenges, the environment of where they will be communicating and where they will be positioned within that environment, the tasks or activities the individual will be engaged in, and what the communication demands are of those situations. And once we have a good understanding of set, we then look at the tools to understand which system or systems may be a match to someone's communication plan. I want to recognize that technology alone does not make a competent communicator any more than a piano makes a musician or a basketball and a hoop makes an athlete. But identifying the AAC technology is one step in the AAC journey, often an early step, but that's really where the work begins to then develop a plan to help someone develop their communication skills and to be the best that they can be. When we look at AAC systems, it's important to recognize that there are two types of vocabulary. One is called core vocabulary, and these are frequently used words across communication situations. It makes up about 80% of what we say. What's interesting about core vocabulary is that only about 15% of these words are nouns, and everything else is pronouns, adjectives, adverbs, prepositions, and so on. And these are the words that carry us across conversations across our lifetimes. It's fringe vocabulary that is more specific to a conversation or an activity. So for example, there are some words that are more relevant or frequently used in an art activity, as well as social studies or science, or while you're at work or when you're chatting and socializing with friends. But it's important to also recognize that in AAC systems that we include vocabulary for today, as well as for tomorrow, to allow for vocabulary expansion and communication growth. Color coding also plays a role in AAC systems. Specifically, their role is to provide a visual clue as well for symbol location as well as for communication function. So typically we see yellow words together, green words together, orange words together. And we also assign colors based on communication function. So social words might be pink, verbs may be green, pronouns may be yellow, and so forth. And the AAC systems do vary based on their color coding scheme, but consistency across displays is what is most important for each individual user. So there's lots to learn from my colleagues and the remaining part of this webinar. And again, I thank you so much for joining NJCART today.
Excellent. Thank you, Tracy. Setting the stage for us as we move through. Next up, we have Jamie. She's going to be talking through the use of the tool called Go Talk Now.
Hi, my name is Jamie Pastor. I'm a speech therapist and AAC specialist at Cerebral Palsy of North Jersey Horizon School. And today I'm going to talk to you about the Go Talk Now by Attainment Company. The Go Talk Now app also comes in a plus version. This includes symbol sticks, a comprehensive Ready, Set, Go communicate book, and additional voices. I'm going to show you a sample book to start with. So you see on the bottom it says a CP&J 16 location from Atlas AAC2. That's the name of this book. And if we go into our player, you can see that we have some symbols set up. With this, the little man jumping gives us the table of contents. We can select a page we might want to go to. This app can also be navigated with arrows or via swiping. It can also be navigated via linking. So we have the home button on the bottom. And then if certain buttons are set up to link, as I touch it, it'll link to wherever we designated it to go. The other thing that this app has is core vocabulary built in. This could have 4 symbols or 8 symbols, and this core vocabulary is the same on each page. You see I'm turning the page, and our core vocabulary stays the same. This app can be accessed via direct selection, and it does offer some amendments via the bounds features, or through scanning with a variety of settings. If we do 3 fingers down on the screen, it gets us back to our home page. And now I'm going to show you how to make a new book. So I touch where our names are and the plus sign, and then we can call the book whatever you want, and we're going to create it. Once we do that, I can get to our page editor. So from here, I can decide what color the background might be. I can decide if it's going to have 1, 2, 4, 9, 16, 25, or 36 buttons. If we're going to use scanning auditory cues. And the express page gives us a message window on top. From here, in order to add a button, we touch each rectangle. And with our images, you can pick one from the image library. You can take your own photo directly from the app or from the photo library. So we'll start with the Go Talk image library. And you can look through their categories, or you can search on your own. And here you can, with 2 fingers, I'm pinching it. I can make it bigger or smaller. 1 finger, I can move it all around, and I can also rotate. Next, we'll add some button text. We'll call it a ball. And then with that button text, I can change the size, the font, and the color. I can 1 finger on that text, lets me move it wherever I would want it within the button. I'm also able to change background colors and border colors. For the actions, we see them on top. So our action, we can have record audio. Our text to speech is our default, and it also defaults to speak whatever is on the button text. I can jump to page if I'm going to navigate, and I can pick what page I'm going to go to. And then there are some additional features such as media player, opening up a URL, cue light control with some additional hardware, or launching a video. For now, we'll keep it text to speech. You can program an auditory cue if we're scanning. And our after action allows 2 actions on a button if you want a button to speak and also to link somewhere. So we can be done. If we're going to do our next button, I'm just going to show you how to add something from your photo library. So we can pick Thomas, and if he's too big, 2 fingers, and I can make him smaller so he fits in the button, and I can change our text. And then once we're done, with a plus sign, gives me choices whether I want to duplicate this page, a keyboard page, make a scene page, or a blank button. If I'm done here, 3 fingers up gets me back to our home page. With the Go Talk Now app, you're able to share amongst other iPads. If I touch where it says Go Talk Now, it'll broadcast if I have 2 iPads on the same Wi-Fi and the other iPad can receive it. You can also share via iTunes. You're also able to make some additional purchases from the store. That includes additional symbol sets, some pre-made books, and voices. Thank you for your time. I hope you got to learn a little bit about the Go Talk Now app.
Very good. Thank you. As we continue on, next up, Brittany's going to talk to us about the Touch Chat HD. And remember, if you have questions, feel free, drop them in the chat. Otherwise, you can hold your thoughts until the end, and we will let you turn on the mics and have at it. But I wanted to remind you about the chat. Here we go.
Today, I'm going to do a quick overview of the Touch Chat HD AAC app. Touch Chat HD is a dynamic display application for iDevices, including the iPad, iPad mini, iPod, and iPhone. It's currently available in English and Spanish, and for additional purchase can be in Hebrew, Arabic, and French Canadian. The application comes with pre-programmed page sets. It has the 4 basic, My Core, Spelling, Vocab PC, Aphasia, Multi-Chat 15, and My Quick Chat. For the purposes of this webinar, I'm going to review the Multi-Chat 15 page set, specifically the Multi-15 student page set. This page set was developed for students, adolescents, and adults. It comes pre-programmed with sentences, phrases, words. You can record your own stories, and it also has visual scenes available. In order to customize any of the preset pages, you first need to make a copy of that page set. You're going to do that by going to the menu, Copy of Vocabulary. We're going to scroll down and find the Multi-Chat 15 student. And here you're going to rename it. So I'm going to do Multi-Chat 15. And for the purposes of today, I'm going to write webinar. You can add a description if you like, and I'm going to select save. Then you'll see the lock to the left is open, and this allows me to know that I can make edits. I'm going to select this page set. First, I'd like to review some of the settings. We're going to go to Menu, Settings. Here, you can see the first one is the navigation. So this being turned on allows for gestures to be added to the different buttons. That means you can add gestures such as navigating to different pages, clearing the page set. We will review that shortly as we edit a button. We can also put the button click sound on, so when you select a button, you hear a sound. The button navigation icons is the little arrow in the upper right, showing you that it links to another page. The status bar is the white at the top of the screen. This can be turned on, as it is now, or off. You can see that the battery and the date have now disappeared. The editing, this can be turned on. You need to make sure you actually turn it on through the main settings of the iPad. In the app, you need to have it allowed editing. And then also in here, you can set a password in order for students to not get in and edit themselves. Speech, you can see I have it set to Heather. However, I could also change it to a male child voice, Kenny, or an American voice, Ryan, as well as I have options to download additional voices, some that come with an additional cost. I can change the rate, the pitch, and also the pause between words. The speech display, which is the white at the top, can be turned off or on. I can also change the font, the size, the color, the background color, I can adjust the number of lines to make it a smaller or a larger area. I can also change the action. So when a user selects the top, right now it's select to just speak, but I can also change that to enlarge the text.
I want to eat. I want to eat.
Now I can go back into my settings. Go back to the home page and clear my message. I go back to the settings. Also, that expanded speech area, which you just saw, the enlarged, can also be customized with the font, font size, color, and background color. I can set it to speak different characters, words, sentences. I can also change the orientation to have it in portrait or landscape mode, as well as change how a user might access the different buttons, where it can be activated on release, where you touch and release. The dwell time, which you have a user that needs to hold the button for a specific amount of time. The highlight touch, which when you touch it, it gives a nice highlight in the background. You can hide all the icons. And you can also adjust the margins between the buttons. Now we're going to edit a button.
I want to listen to.
I'm going to edit or add a new button to actually play a video of Baby Shark. To do this, I'm going to go to the menu. I'm going to edit this page, and I'm going to select this blank button at the top and hit edit this button. I'm going to type in for my button label, Baby Shark. I can select an image. I can choose a symbol that comes with the app. The quickest way to do this would be to search. I can type in shark. And you can see that there's a list or a bunch of different images that you could choose from. However, for this specific student, I want to use an actual image. So I have saved one into my image library. I'm going to import an image from my library, or you could actually take one using the camera. Use. I'm going to keep the label on top, use bold text, and make it visible. I'm going to keep all the same font and size and color, but I would be able to adjust any of this to customize it. I'm going to add an action. As you can see, these are all different things that you may make a button do. For this specific one, I want it to play a video, and I'm going to have it play a video from YouTube. I have previously copied the link, so I'm just going to paste it in, select done, save, and done. I'm going to clear my display, although I did not need to.
Baby Shark.
And I am able to play the Baby Shark video. I'm going to hit done to go back. If a student is playing the video over and over again and you want them to not have access to it at a specific time of day, we're able to do that easily by editing the page again, selecting the button, edit this button, and we can also turn visible off.
All right, I have to apologize to Brittany because that was where her video cut off, and I think we got a good understanding of the video. And sorry, Brittany, I couldn't figure out how to get the other one loaded in there. But I think we got a really nice sense of how that tool works and how we could embed information into the grid for communication. Thank you. Thank you. Awesome. Last up in our list of presenters is Michelle. Michelle's going to try something a little different, and she's going to share her screen. I hope. Michelle, are we going to share our screen? Ooh, the anticipation is killing me. Tracy, are we going to share Michelle's screen? You are, but give me a second. I have to unshare. Let me stop sharing. Let's see. There you go. I will stop sharing. Now you can share. Perfect. The floor is yours.
Give us 1 second. We're here.
Okay.
Oh. We're going to mute ourselves and get this resolved in 1 second.
Okay. So as they mute themselves and get themselves resolved, we'll know when theirs pops up. We had a bit of an issue with Michelle's video coming through, and at one point it had only picture, then the other point it had only sound, and never did the two twains meet. But we should get that in a second. Again, if you have questions, drop them in the chat. If not, we will just patiently wait, and here we go. Just make sure to unmute yourself, guys.
Okay. We good?
Yep.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. It's Tracy Lee again, and I'm here with Michelle Ganello at the Grayman Family of Schools. And we're going to take a couple minutes to talk about the application Proloquo to Go by the company Assistiveware. This is an app that only runs on iDevices, and out of the box, it comes with vocabulary pages called Crescendo. And within Crescendo, there are 3 levels. One is called Basic, the other is called Intermediate, and the third is called Advanced Core. Within those pages, there is a variety of grid sizes. Your pages can range from 9 buttons up to 144 buttons per page. What's important to recognize for the purpose of today's presentation is for now, I am in the Intermediate 45 location page set. And I'm going to use this example vocabulary layout to kind of talk about the foundations of vocabulary selection as well as vocabulary organization within the app. And then Michelle is going to take over and show us some of the features within the application itself. So looking at the home page within Proloquo to Go, every button that is shaped like a square is the core vocabulary, including pronouns and verbs and prepositions, adjectives, and some other vocabulary terms. And then in the folders is where you find the fringe or extended vocabulary that is topic or activity specific. What's new in the Crescendo page sets is that when you do go to a folder, such as food as an example, can you still hear us?
Yes, we can still hear you, but your screen is not sharing anymore.
Okay.
Your screen is sharing, but your device is not showing up.
Give us 1 second.
Okay. Okay, now we got you back.
And we are back in business. So
Yep.
when you go to a folder such as food, some of the core vocabulary repeats across pages, but then you also have access to that topic or activity-specific vocabulary. In this particular example, you can see that there are a bunch of nouns to select specific foods, and then there is also a more icon here to bring you to more vocabulary. One of the major differences between the basic versus intermediate and advanced levels is that in basic, the core vocabulary is significantly reduced and some of the messages are single words and some of them are phrase-based. In intermediate and advanced, the core vocabulary is exactly the same. However, the vocabulary within folders is more robust in the advanced user, and there is also more sub-levels or more folders within the advanced level as well. So pretty quickly, I'm going to turn you over to Michelle to show us some features within the app.
Hi everyone. So with all of the vocabulary levels, there's a feature called grammar support. And what grammar support does is you can add verb tenses, and you could add plurals and possessive to nouns. So any of the buttons on the screen that you see now that has a little shaded triangle in the corner has grammar support. So if you press and hold one of those buttons, a pop-up comes up, and then you can, in this case, a verb, so you can conjugate the verb. So you'd be able to say liked or liking. And the same with nouns. If I open up the animals folder, and if I wanted to say birds, I could hold down bird, and then I'm able to use the plural. So that's grammar support. There's also a search feature within the app. So if you click down in the lower left-hand corner, those 4 squares, this options toolbar pops up, and there's a search feature. So if you press on the magnifying glass, you can type a word in and search for where it is in the system. So I've already typed in noisy. So now if I click on noisy, it gives you the buttons that you have to press in order to find the word noisy. So the describe folder, more, sounds, noisy. So you can search for any word within the system. There's also a feature called progressive language, and progressive language is a way you can systematically build the user's vocabulary over time. So you can start with a larger grid size. So I'm just changing the screen to a different user area, and this is there are 60 buttons on the screen now. So if the user can handle the smaller button sizes but may need to have a smaller vocabulary, you can systematically hide buttons over time. So you go into vocabulary, progressive language. So right now it's on step 5, which is showing all of the buttons. I'm going to change it to step 1. And you can see the screen changes, and right now there's only 22 buttons on the screen. So there's 22 buttons on the pages. And then you can change it to step 2. You could see then it would bring 26 buttons, and then you can slowly build them up all the way up to 60. So some of the newer features in Proloquo with the update to version 6 are there's new volume options. So again, if you go into the tools pop-up in the lower left-hand corner, there are 3 volume choices. You can do soft, which kind of puts it half volume. Loud, which will turn it all the way up, so you can change the volume right from the app. And then there's a new shout feature. So if you press the shout button, it will shout whatever's in the message bar or whatever button you press really, really loudly. It actually increases the maximum level of the app. You could also now add audio recordings to a button, so you can record a voice if you want to say something with a little bit more emotion, or if you wanted to, sometimes the pronunciations aren't exactly right, especially with people's names with the text-to-speech, so you can record yourself saying, whatever you want the button to say. You can also use AirDrop to share files. Updated their search feature to include the verb tenses, so you could search for a past tense or a plural. If you want more information about Proloquo to Go, they have a great website, so you can go to the AssistiveWare website, which is assistiveware.com. Thank you for joining us today, and I hope you learned something new about Proloquo.
Excellent. Thank you, Michelle. Tracy, appreciate it. That was excellent. As we were going through, I appreciate you guys using the chat window as we were going through. There was a question in there, in case you don't have the chat open. There's a question about Go Talk Now, which was how to make buttons visible on the Go Talk Now app that had been previously hidden. And Jamie jumped in and said, once in the page editor, hold down on the button and select enable. So there you go. There's a little extra nugget of information there. If I could steal the screen back from you guys, I'll get us back to our questions page and our wrap up. Does anybody have a question they'd like to ask any of the speakers? I know we are a couple minutes over, and we appreciate you guys staying with us for a couple extra minutes. But now is your moment. If you got a question, this is the time. As you think of those questions, I will continue to plow ahead to move us forward. Oh, here we go. Janet. Hey, Janet. Janet asked, does Proloquo have the ability to play a video? Michelle, Tracy, anybody else? Oh, it's a stumper. I love a stumper. Michelle says, not sure. Would have to look it up. Janet's looking for something for video modeling. Does anybody else know that info and can jump in? All right, as I keep going, maybe somebody could hunt that down as we go. Thank you, guys. A couple quick announcements before we wrap up. Like I said, I know we're late, so we'll get to them quick. Future events as we go forward, just to give you a heads up of things that are happening around New Jersey. I'm guessing that many of us might be from New Jersey. I know not everybody is. And if you're not, well, I'm sorry for you. You should be, because we're pretty great here. EdCamp Access is happening in March. That just happens in a couple weeks, actually. March 16th, Saturday the 16th. At the College of St. Elizabeth in Morristown. We'll be going with our half-day 8:30 to 12:30 session. Tickets are free. It's going to be a great event. This is, I believe, our 6th year doing the event, and it's been great every year. So feel free to join us. We'd love to have you. Come and share your expertise, ask a lot of questions, learn a lot of stuff. You can get your tickets and more info at the website, which is edcampaccessnj.org. We are also having our 3rd annual Assistive Technology Summit, hosted by the ATAC, the Assistive Technology Advocacy Center, of which I am the director. So hope you'll join us for that. Our date has been set. We are at September 24th, 2019. Tickets are still free, so this will still be a free event this year. You can get tickets at bit.ly/NJATS19. And that's going to be at the Mercer Community College at the Conference Center. Same place it's been for the past couple of years. If you're interested in presenting, we would love to have you. There's a link there to submit a session proposal, bit.ly/ATSummit19CFP. So we have those couple announcements. And then finally, our sponsor for today's webinar is NJCART. If you're not familiar with NJCART, the Coalition for the Advancement of Assistive and Rehab Technology. We have been around for, let's just call it forever. 1987 is the year, but I'm going to call it forever. And we are a professional organization that connects to share ideas about assistive technology for people in all environments, all needs, all types of technology. So hopefully you will join us. Our website's up there, njcart.net. We'd love to have you involved in the activities we do. We host these types of events. We're going to do these hot topic webinars. So if you have an idea for a topic you'd like to see us cover, or you'd like to present as part of one of these, we would love to have you. So please reach out through the NJCART website. Reach out to one of us that are on here right now. We'd be happy to have you. That would be wonderful. We'd like to hear from more voices. And 5 minutes isn't too scary at all. That would be, it's a nice, easy way to do things. And you see, we will help you through it and get your information out there. So again, any last questions or comments before we wrap up for the day? All right. With that, I say thank you for your time. I appreciate it. Hope you enjoyed this today. Special thank you to all of our presenters. They were outstanding. Thank you, guys. That was a great job. And we will post the link to the recording up to YouTube later today, and we will send out an announcement to everybody who registered today so you can follow up and watch the recording. Thanks very much. Have a good rest of the day.